Good morning.
Or afternoon.
Well, here it's the morning. It's the AM. My computer radio says 11:23
See, mine is 2:23.
a.m. Okay.
Hey, let me ask you this though. You know what happens when you put 2 and 23 together?
I just want you to tell me. I don't want to think.
You get 25 or the quarter Quell or the 25th episode of this podcast.
What? See, I want to know how you came up with that so fast.
I'm bowing, as you can't see me bowing, but I'm bowing because I'm like, I appreciate what I just did there.
People, hello. That was and you know what? Those are little private conversations you have, so consider yourself blessed right now.
Right.
So, hello.
Hello.
Hello. And welcome to episode number 25. 35. It's been a while. Of Blerds on Nerds.
Or quarter life crisis, quarter Quell, quarter century. I'll go back to quarter Quell because I'm obsessed with the term quarter Quell. But okay, anyway.
If you haven't guessed already, there's something that we've seen and something that we will be talking about because we try to stay current. So we said, you know what? We're going to go see this and we're going to talk about it and y'all are going to hear about this on Monday. So there it is.
Well, I'm gonna skip. I will skip that. We'll get there. Okay, so Lana, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I saw a good movie. I played game, and I'm doing pretty well.
I'm happy for you.
How are you doing? Are you well, or are you?
I'm actually doing very well. I don't know why I said that. I don't know why I said, "Oh, I'm happy for you." Like I was gonna give you the opposite review.
I know. I was kind of expecting like Bizarro Matt or something.
Actually, it's been actually a good weekend. It's been very laid back. I didn't do anything. I made a couple of purchases, as I told you yesterday. That I can't wait to talk about. But other than that, I mean, I'm just ready to nerd out with you, Lana. Like, let's go.
Let's do
Hold my hand and let's walk down this path of nerdiness.
Let's walk down the path of nerdiness as we venture into Nerdland. Okay.
Are you done?
I was having fun with that because you know what I pictured in my head? I pictured us holding hands and I pictured a yellow brick road going into like a forest.
Was I in a lion's costume?
Yes. And I want to have Dorothy's costume because she had red shoes and they sparkled.
Is this our cosplay idea for next year?
You know what? Don't even. Rock that. And do you know how nobody else would even be?
We was the Wiz version, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He's on down. Yeah. Let's keep it real.
That's true. I mean, because we don't do like pale face or whatever they call it.
Yeah, right. That's like what we talked about when I was at Kamikaze.
Right. Yeah. We're not gonna harp on that, but okay, let's jump into it. So, do you have a blast from the past?
I do, yes. And my blast from the past is actually a personal one. It just it's something that happened to me that kind of relates to my blur of the week. Okay. So, and it's so out of left field. It's more of a cultural thing.
Oh, please go ahead.
When I was young, and I probably said this on the air, but I don't remember because we're 25 episodes in, so just work it out for like the next 30 seconds.
Right.
I had like a curl when I was little. Okay. It was like a leisure curl or like one of the curls. But you know, I look cute. I had a little wedge cut. Couldn't tell me nothing. So
no, not a wedge cut.
I did. And it was 80s with the shirt. Yes. Okay. I was cute. Or was it later? Anyways, so I was in third grade and all of a sudden, you know, I had this teacher, and it's funny how I just started to remember stuff from elementary school and you know, how teachers can really try to influence political ideology and stuff like that. And it's funny because, you know, back then I didn't know what was going on. It wasn't until I was older that I really kind of realized what was going on. But she was talking to me about my hair. And I had never felt any way. I mean, my parents had always instilled, the beauty of being Black and, pride of my culture and stuff, especially in a class where I was the only Black child there. That's something important when you don't see yourself anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and she basically started talking to me about my hair, and she started talking to me about the chemicals in my hair. And then,
Huh.
yeah, and then she put an article on my desk.
Wait, what?
Yes, she put an article on my desk about, chemicals. I didn't read the article. I didn't read it. On my desk about like hair and chemicals or whatever. And then this is what I remember distinctly. I remember her saying, "I'm sorry, you have to step away." She said, "I'm really allergic to what," and I'm just looking at her because this came out of left field. This wasn't the first day of school.
Mm-hmm.
My hair was kept up. It was washed, it was clean, whatever. Um and she was like, she was like, basically, stay over there.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and it's funny because I mean, when something happened with teachers, me and my sister both, we always were very good about telling our parents and stuff, and trust and believe they would handle it. My dad was a teacher in the past, so, and both my parents, they were on top of that kind of stuff. So
Wow.
but I never told them. I don't know why I didn't tell them. Well, years later I did,
Yeah.
but
In that
never
moment.
them at that moment. I never told them what happened. I took the article. I didn't read it, so I don't know what it said. And I just looked at her and I threw it in the trash and went into my desk.
Yeah. Why? I mean, why should you read it?
Yeah, and sat down. And so that is my blast from.
I don't know why you're laughing because I'm loving it. Don't
And,
laugh. I'm loving it.
and like I said, it does relate to my blurred of the week and the reason that I picked her for my blurred of the week. But yeah, that was an experience, one of my first experience with, I'm not going to say it's racism, but I will say cultural insensitivity, because I think
Yes.
that was more of what it was than anything else, and just plain old ignorance. So,
I think cultural insensitivity is actually a really great way to say it because I feel like if you were older or if you could go back in time, I guess, or
mm,
even now, if you saw her, I mean, you could edge it. Ow! I just bit my tongue. I just
be
bit my tongue.
careful, Matt.
I just bit my tongue. Ow. Okay. Anyway, so ow, that really hurt. If I mean you know we always say like if you can go back in time or if you could talk to that person, if you could educate that person on exactly what they said and how they said it and how it impacts you how it could have possibly impacted you as a child because
Right.
it could have affected you negatively,
Mhm.
or worse. But that's just yeah, cultural insensitivity is actually the
Yeah.
best way to put it.
And it's interesting because, I'm not teaching now, but I was a teacher for years and years.
Right?
And I just think about all the different cultures that I've had to work with, and I just think, different things come up, and just culturally, there are different things that you just deal with, and I would never, it would have never crossed my mind to ever
Right.
tell one of my students anything about their hair or appearance or whatever they wore or anything, and so it's just wow.
Well, I did have a blur of the week. I did have a blast in the past,
Uh huh.
and it was the completely opposite from yours. But now that since you gave us that one, I want to give you something a little bit different because it did kind of give a light bulb in my head.
Okay.
So this month, some people that don't know, is November is Movember. It's kind of like a hipster thing. People consider it hipster. I don't. But it's where men around the world grow their mustaches out for testicular cancer awareness.
Oh.
So to encourage men to get tested or
Uh
be
huh.
aware. So I've never done it. I mean, I've heard about it for years. I've never done it just because in high school, well, really to go back, so blast in the past portion of this is that my father has always had a full beard, and
Oh,
I've
okay.
always wanted to have one. And you know me, like I never really have facial hair.
Right.
I just don't want to deal with it. Even when I'm growing up for like a week, I couldn't stand it. It stressed me out.
Hmm.
So I decided at the end of October, it was like literally October 28th. I was like, oh, well, I'll do Movember. So I decided, I haven't grown my mustache out in like 7 years because I look really creepy. And someone told me one day, and that's why I shaved it in college. And I was like, oh, yeah, they're right. I do look really, really creepy.
Uh-huh.
So from there, I just like, oh, I'll just grow it out because I really want to do it. So I'm growing out my facial hair like all over. So I'm growing my facial hair and my beard and my mustache. And I've been doing this now since the end of October, and I really, really like it. But the blast
I
of the
need a
past
picture.
part, oh, I'll send it to you. You know, I'll send it to you.
Uh-huh.
The blast of the past portion of this is because in high school, I tried to grow my facial hair out, and I tried to be like kind of, I guess, like to be honest, like manlier or look manlier because I always had like a. Some people have told me like I have a pretty face
Oh,
or I have a really smooth face,
goodness.
and it's like that. You know, I guess for me, like it's not necessarily about race, but it's just like it kind of makes me a little bit more sensitive towards my
Okay.
appearance
Mm-hmm.
and trying to grow out the mustache. I was like made fun of for the mustache, but I like kept it the whole time.
Uh-huh.
And then finally in college, someone was like, "Yeah, your mustache, you look really creepy."
Oh,
And I was like, "Oh, okay." And I cut it, and I remember cutting my mustache, and everyone was like, "Oh, you look so much better." So for me, like, I'm just bringing this up because I mean, it's kind of a blast from the past. It's also kind of like an advertisement. That men around the world. If you don't know about it's Movember, like November, but we'll just place the N with the M as in Matt. Just look it up. And it's just all about testicular cancer awareness. And I don't know the statistics. I should, but I don't know the statistics for the deaths, the death ratio. But it's something I'm doing, and it's something like I'm carrying with me every day. And I'm just constantly aware, I guess,
mhm.
of what's going on.
Yeah.
Especially because my father is older now; he's in middle age, so
Right.
um, I'm trying to be aware of that. I don't know why I went. I didn't mean to go so serious.
No, I went serious too. No, it's fine.
I guess as I was
Because
talking, I was like, "This is more serious than I thought."
no, it is. It absolutely is. And, yes, our show is entertaining, but there's sometimes just things that we need to discuss.
Right,
So,
right. So, one, so there's two things you can take from this, people. One, be culturally sensitive. And two, if you're a man, go to the doctor and get your, how do you say this? PG-13.
uh,
Uh, your
get
stuff checked.
get your stuff checked.
Get your stuff checked.
Get yourself checked out. Have yourself a full physical,
Yes, have yourself a full physical
a
because, I mean,
complete physical.
you never know. I mean, people like my age, it's not really a big deal. But when you're in your 40s, and this is for women and men. I mean, when it comes to like breast cancer,
Absolutely.
as you get older, when you're in your late 30s or 40s, you should definitely be more aware um, of your body.
And you know what? Thank you for bringing this up because we hear everybody knows about breast cancer. We hear about breast cancer all the time. People wear pink. It's huge. It's
Mm-hmm.
absolutely huge. But, testicular cancer is not something that I think that's quite as mainstream that people are talking about. So, thank you for bringing awareness because I had no idea about Movember. I had never heard of it before. So,
I don't know if it's like I remember hearing about this in high school, and I don't. And the reason I said used the term hipster is because I was talking to a couple of friends about a month ago when I started or was about to start, and they were like, "Oh, that's a very hipster thing to do," and which I really like. That's for 2014. Can we please bury that word?
yeah,
What does
you have
that
my permission.
mean?
Do
What
it.
does that
I don't know.
mean?
I don't know.
So if I read comics, I'm a hipster nerd, or if I, or or if
I
I
have
don't.
an idea in my head of what a hipster looks like. I don't even know if it's correct, but I think it's like a certain style. I don't know. People make up words, they last for a little bit and then they go away.
Well, see, the thing about hipsters, I remember at least when it came to me, hipster was more of a mentality. So it was like, oh, I don't listen to mainstream music. I only listen to indie rock. Like I
And
don't
I'm
listen
like,
to top
really?
40. Like that was hipster in mentality. Now it's like hipster clothing. So you have like the guys that wear skinny jeans with the bottoms rolled up, and they're wearing like pointy toe shoes, and they wear like the big glasses, and
So, and I'm reading a little bit about. I just typed it in real quick and just looked
yeah.
at the Urban Dictionary for hipster, and it's basically subculture, independent thinking, counterculture, progressive politics, art, indie rock,
I
creativity, intelligence, and tight jeans. Really,
did I just
rim
name that?
glasses. Yeah, and old school sneakers. Oh my gosh! So basically, um, Oh gosh, I can't. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's so ridiculous to me
isn't it?
because
Isn't
honestly,
it? Well, say the definition one more time, and I'll stop you at the word you used or the word they used.
okay. Subculture
Mm-hmm.
is one of them. Independent thinking, counterculture, progressive.
Counterculture.
Yeah,
That's what it is. Because that's my first. I think that was the first thing about being a hipster was you're counter the norm. So everything was about going against the norm. So it's like, oh, I don't listen to top 40. I listen to like
yeah.
music that from bands that are still in their town. They don't tour the country. Like they just want their music to be their own. And because it just. It's so please, if you're listening out there and you think you're a hipster, or if you hate that word too, please join us in burying the word hipster for
I know.
2020.
And a lot of it. Oh, and another thing about it that's interesting, androgynous. So
Ugh.
basically, both men and women supposed, and this is according to that definition,
Mm.
kind of sport the messy shag cut. Yeah. Okay.
Isn't
Well.
isn't
So
androgynous like a
basically, if you
tomboy
have, well, yeah,
for a woman? I
basically,
mean,
yeah, for a woman. So basically, what if wear some tight jeans, have some shaggy hair, listen to indie rock. I thought that was the grunge movement, but whatever.
wow,
Um,
that is true. That is actually really true. Or you could be a hipster androgynous
I
or
mean,
a
yeah, because I'm
hipdrogynous.
thinking about back in the day when Nirvana first kind of hit the scene, even though we're talking about different parts of the country, because hipsters really, according to what I've seen, are located mostly on the East Coast,
Mm-hmm.
and that the grunge band music movement kind of originated in what I want to say Seattle.
Seattle, yep.
Yeah, so
Nirvana.
you know, I don't know. He had shaggy hair. They all did, and were kind of grungy and kind of independent. And I mean, their jeans weren't super tight. When I see the people walking around, especially when I see the dudes with the tight pants.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just talking about pants that fit because I don't want to see anybody's underwear. And when I see somebody with, can I get 30 seconds?
Go.
'Cause
No,
I'm
go
gonna,
ahead.
gonna go.
Don't
Okay.
ask me. Go. Run with it. We're still
When,
holding hands, remember?
we're holding hands. Thank you. Thank you. Take my hand. Okay. So when I see the dudes walking around with their pants under their booty and I can see your underwear that I don't want to see because I didn't ask to see because we don't know each other like that.
Right.
And you have on your belt that's holding up your pants so they don't fall down to your knees.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's a problem for me.
Yeah.
It's a
I
problem for me if you're walking like that down the street. It's a problem for me, especially if you're in your 30s, which I've seen, and
no, not your 30s.
you're still. I mean, in high school, look, in high school, me and all my friends, we dressed baggy, except for in a different way. It was like in a TLC way. It was in a cute way. It was like we all wanted to be like Aaliyah and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was, and she made it kind of cool. It was like cool and sexy at the same time, and you didn't have to wear super tight stuff. You could just have your boots on and stuff, and that was the look for me. We loved it. So, but when I see that, and then when I see the super tight jeans, and I'm talking about the jeans that are so tight they look like leggings, because I've seen those out here in Cali.
No, they don't look like leggings. They look like they've been painted on.
Painted on,
On.
and you're you can those aren't made for sagging. But maybe it's because you can't pull them all the way up. Because I don't even look, we're built differently, men and women.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand how that works. And I'm just going to leave it right there. And I'm just going to let people think what they will. But I don't see how that could possibly work.
We're on this. Okay, we're gonna move on because we could. Anyway, so Xbox One came out last week. Oh, okay, that's it. That's all I wanted. Okay, we can end the show. No, I just. So Xbox One came out. Even though I plan on getting one anytime soon ish. I have been keeping tabs on the release and the specs and what the reviews have been so far, and a lot of people, of course, like it. It looks pretty. It's like the biggest system out there.
It's bigger than I thought it was.
Yeah,
When
it's
I saw
pretty
the
big. And it's a gorgeous system. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it's just a pretty big system. I'm not trying to down it at all. But there have been cases so far. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to look it up now. But there are reports of Xbox One disk drive issues, and they're rapidly increasing
yes.
because PlayStation has had the blue light of death effect, and thank God we haven't had that issue either you or myself,
Right.
Lana. But
It's been about 10,000 cases from what I've heard so far,
of the
of,
PlayStation or the Xbox.
of the Xbox. And I actually watched a little video of what that sound is. And so basically, when people are trying to because Xbox is running a Blu-ray drive, and
Mm-hmm.
so when people are trying to put their game disc in, there is this really nasty crunching noise, like they put it
Are you
in and it's like
serious?
chum chum chum. And I heard it. I watched a little video with that sound, and it showed like several people's like put together clips, several people putting it in, and I was like, oh wow, that sounds really scary. But that's been kind of an issue. But we don't know. Okay, the estimate is about 10,000 because supposedly Xbox sold about 1 million units also.
I'm sure they did.
We don't, yeah, but we don't know. I mean, how many have really been affected? Supposedly it's about 1%, but I
That's
don't
a
know.
lot.
It is a lot, but PlayStation had their issues too, and we don't necessarily know the numbers.
Yeah,
So,
the thing that I'm finding funny or interesting is that like I follow Kotaku a lot and I get a lot of my gaming news from
uh-huh.
them, and they had a full like week before, the week leading up to, and the week after for PS4, and that's what they're doing for Xbox too. So of course, when the Blue Light of Death came out, like they got a lot of personal emails like saying like this is my PS4, this is a video of my PS4, and
Hmm.
they said they've only had about 60 something emails. There's been several hundred cases, but they've only had, but that's very small compared to what the Xbox. I was reading just now. The Xbox has had
Right.
a lot more. Not saying it's a worse console, but the thing that's funny, Lana, that I want people to drive home with this is that, or with this, what I'm about to say is that the only faultless next gen system has been the Wii U.
Okay, so check this out.
Does anybody
That
realize that?
I read that,
Hmm.
but then I guess some people who got the Wii U had, and see, the Wii U, they didn't sell a lot of units, not compared to the two big systems that we're talking.
Right. You're right. Yep.
And I guess there were a couple of people who had some hardware issues, but honestly, it's nominal. And the reason that I say that is because we're not talking about 1 million units here of
I
the
was just
Wii
about to
U.
say that. I was thinking about
Yeah,
maybe like 500 people that bought the Wii U. Maybe
yeah.
like seven of them had issues. I'm sorry, I
You
should say.
said you said 500.
Like out of the 500 units sold to date, only about seven people have regarded have issues. I don't have a calculator in front of me, but what's seven over 500?
Oh
I
my!
shouldn't say that, but I mean the
No,
Wii U.
it's true. I
It's
mean,
true. It's true.
whenever you get something on launch, there is a possibility that it's not going to work. But guess what? There's a bigger possibility that it will work.
Hmm.
Okay, we're not talking about 50% of the systems here. And with any electronics that you get, you're going to have that possibility that something's going to go wrong out the box. So a lot of people say, oh, I don't buy my stuff on launch day because all these problems, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to get launch day because of this. You know what? You can go buy a TV and out the box, it cannot work. It doesn't matter.
Right.
That's
You're
how
right.
it is with electronics. Stuff gets shipped, stuff gets banged around. It could be anything. It doesn't have to be launched, and it can be broken out the box.
You're absolutely right. And I don't know. I think the more things, the more something is media. I don't know how to say this, but like spotlight drawn to like the Xbox One and the PS4. Sadly, the Wii U was not, just because I think that it was leading up to the launch. It was like in the spotlight, but once it came out, and it was kind of a disappointment. It has faded into
Yeah.
the backlight versus the Xbox and the PS4 are true, and this has been true for a while. I mean, Xbox and PS or Sony, let's just say Sony and Xbox have been very much the heavy hitters of next gen console of video games, right? I
Right.
mean, the Wii and Nintendo products have always been very family oriented. They're not really focused on graphics or Blu-ray players or all inclusive. It's like they're not trying to be your primary. They're trying to be like your family secondary. Not just trying to be your primary. They're bringing your family primary. Like it's not. just entertainment. It's supposed to be like for the family,
Yeah,
easy to
and it's
use.
absolutely, and that's fine. And I think we need a system like that. There needs to be a system that parents can play with their kids and not worry about the content or the language they're going to hear or what they're going to see. And so Nintendo definitely fills that niche, and that's why, even though I mean, the Wii did great. The Wii was awesome. The
Yeah,
Wii didn't do as well, but there's still a place for Nintendo amongst that family, the family consumer.
that's very true. And I'm trying to find this article that I read about how the PS4 costs $382 to make.
Really?
Yes, and I'm trying to confirm
Three
that.
wait, three what?
$382 to make.
$382 to make?
And with that being said, because the system costs $400, so you're saying that
Oh
they're
my god.
making $18 a profit, or $18 profit per system.
Oh wow.
I'm really trying to find that like right now. Before it costs 382.
Mhm.
Let me see if I can find that. I'm just typing in that like to see if Oh, and while I'm using oh sorry, here it is. PS4 cost Sony 381 to build.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh wow. That's
Wow.
so
They
it
aren't
really
making they're not making any profit because
they're
I mean
they're not.
you have to look at like you have to add in like storage costs, shipping costs, retail costs. I mean promotion,
They're
just
breaking even.
like that's overhead costs. Excuse me, they're breaking even.
So how are they going to make their money? They're going to make their money what off of some exclusive deals or
Content because remember when the
content,
PS
streaming, internet, PlayStation Plus memberships. I mean,
I guess PlayStation Plus memberships, right? Because when the PS3 came out, it was $600, and it was
mhm,
extremely expensive.
so
And
expensive.
and then they lowered it down to 400, and sales steadily grew and grew exponentially to this day. But they were losing money so bad.
Hmm.
They were losing. I think it was like almost a million, like every two
Yeah.
months. Like I mean, there was. I mean, that just. I want to make that money, but no, that's how much it costs, and I'm interested to see how much the Xbox. This hasn't been released yet. How much the Xbox One costs to build?
Wow.
Because I'm really interested in that. Oh, and side note, the reason I'm doing this so easily because I thought I talked about this on the podcast. Lana, I talked to Lana about this yesterday. I
Uh-huh.
made the jump and I bought an iPad Air.
Right. Please tell us about that because
I'm holding it right now. I'm like hugging it.
yeah. Oh,
I'm looking down at it like it's a
tell
child.
it hello for me.
Hello. As my puppy is sitting like 7 feet away from me, like, are you serious?
I know.
That should be me. Like, why are you holding an electronic in your hand like that?
I'm breathing.
Right. I'm lonely. I'm scared. Honestly, I really love it. I've never had a tablet. I'll give a really short like review. Um, I have nothing to compare it to because I've never had a tablet. The thing is,
Right.
it only thing it adds in value to me is just to my ecosystem because I have a MacBook, I have an iPhone, I have Apple TV. Um, this just kind of sets up this. This just kind of sets up for a more secure ecosystem. And for people out there that don't know, like an ecosystem is just the world you live in, of like in a technology perspective. So some people have like a Microsoft ecosystem where
Mhm.
everything they have is Sony product, or I'm sorry, Microsoft products, or you can live in like a. It's possible to live like in a Sony ecosystem. So you can have a Sony smartwatch, you can have a Sony computer, Sony TVs, Sony speakers, because the goal is for everything to speak to each other,
Yeah.
whether it be wirelessly or um, hopefully wirelessly in today's technology. But like the cool thing is, like Lana, when you text me, if I'm on my computer, I'll
Uh-huh.
have it'll at the top right of my MacBook, it'll pop up and say, I got a text from Lana, and then my phone will
Oh.
say it, and then my iPad will say it. But whichever responds first, so whichever peripheral or not peripheral, but whatever I use to answer you. So if I use my phone, it'll
Mhm.
wipe from my MacBook and it'll wipe from my iPad. So it
Wow.
won't remain there like I never answered. So for instance, let's say like my phone is off, my iPad is off. It'll say like message from Lana, and then as soon as I open my phone to respond, it'll
Huh?
disappear on my iPad. The
Oh,
notification will.
I see. I like that. That's
So
cool.
just in case like an hour later, if I come back, I'm like, oh, I never responded. It's like it's aware that oh you did answer. Another really slightly cool thing is I went over a couple of friends of mine yesterday, and we were hanging out, and they have AirPlay or Apple TV. and I was
Uh-huh.
playing some music from my phone like 3 weeks ago. So I needed their wireless because to get on their AirPlay, you need the wireless. Now, this was a few weeks ago. Now, yesterday I went over there and I brought my iPad, and I was like, I went to Kotaku. I was looking up some stuff, but then I remember I'm like, how do I have internet access because I have an iPad that's just wireless?
Mm-hmm.
What? Okay, another cool thing is that it syncs all your wireless information.
Really?
Yeah, so I've never brought my iPad over there, and I looked into it. The keychain is what it's called. It just like locks all your passwords and stuff in like one centralized location for all your systems. So for my phone, I remember putting in their Wi-Fi password and getting their Wi-Fi on my phone several weeks ago, and it pushed it to my iPad. So I never had to do it
Uh-huh.
again. I thought that was like it's like the small things that are really cool to me. I'm
Hmm.
sure like the Surface and a Nokia Windows phone, if they still exist, do that. But um, I like it. I like it a lot. I mean, I'm not a tablet stan, even though I'm an Apple stan, but um, I really love it. I love
Hmm.
it a lot.
Well, thank you. And thank you for that heartfelt and passionate introduction into the world of the iPad Air.
Shut up. But I do. I guess really quick. I do want to. Which uh, I do want to talk about one thing that I've added. I told you about yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Was
Oh, yes,
that
yes.
I decided with one of the things with getting an iPad because one of the reasons that pushed me to the iPad was because I wanted to read more digital comics. It's just more convenient, and I'm kind of going green. Blah blah blah. Well, anyway, I've been thinking about this for several weeks, and we talked about this several episodes ago or podcast episodes ago. We talked about the Marvel Unlimited, which was an annual. It could be monthly, annual. They have a monthly plan, an annual plan, and an annual plus plan. The monthly plan is $10 a month, $120 a year. It gives you like online subscriptions to like their catalog. Not every issue, but it's like over 13,000 issues from decades ago up until 2012. And then there's an annual plan for $69, and there's an annual plus plan, which gives you like exclusive content, exclusive discounts. It gives you like this Ultron box and like this first issue signed of the Age of Ultron issues for the Avengers, and that's $99 a year. And I decided to do it. And before I talked to you about it yesterday, Lana, but I did like I tried to mess with it as much as I could, and I really, really like it a lot. A lot of the comics are easy to find. Now, certain comics like Infinity, like Marvel Now comics, you can't
Uh-huh.
find for free. I mean, you can find them, but you can't. I don't want to use the term free, but you can read them under this subscription. And like Infinity, Marvel Now, a lot of Marvel Now stuff. Avengers Arena, I can't read just pulling from their library. I have to buy it. But this is a really cool thing because you can do that. You can read. I'm right now. I downloaded all the Inhuman issues, so I'm like reading all the Inhumans. I'm starting to read the Runaways, and I'm starting to read Deadpool, and of course, I downloaded all the X-23 issues
Right.
ever,
Oh, of course. You said ever.
ever. So I have every single X-23 issue on my not my phone on my tablet. So I
Uh-huh.
really like it. It's cool. I don't have any complaints about it yet, except for I wish for the amount that I'm paying per year that I could have access to like 20. I would basically say 2013 issues. I haven't seen any 2013 issues publications from this plan.
Yeah.
But everything from 2012 and back, you more than likely will find it. Like a lot of Avengers, a lot of X-Men, a lot of X-Men versus Avengers, or Avengers versus X-Men. You can find. I wish, and I wonder if there's one for DC too. I didn't look that up. Do you know if there's one for DC, Lana?
Um,
I feel like they would.
I mean, there's digital comics capabilities and stuff straight from DC, but I don't think it's anything like that. Like I
Mm,
still buy the paper comics. You know,
paper,
I call them paper comics.
paper. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I know. Did you go to the comic book store yesterday?
Yes, I
What you
did.
get? What you get?
I got Justice League 24. It's still with the Forever Evil tie-in, and it was good. I really
Mm,
like this one because it kind of delves into the past of Ultraman. Ultraman, in case you didn't know, he's kind of the leader of the crime syndicate in the Forever Evil miniseries that DC is doing right now. And it's funny because it's like in his origin story, he comes from Krypton, but it's a different Krypton. It's really ruthless and really brutal.
Right.
And, the planet blew up just like our Superman's Krypton did. But his father was so evil. He was like, I came to look at him like he's a baby. They're putting him in the ship. He was like, I can't look at him. I can't stand to look at him. He's so weak. He's just a baby. Like, I mean, it was
Wow.
hardcore. So where Kal-El grew up, just hearing things like science and be a good person and blah 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 and stuff. Like Ultraman, he comes here hearing stuff like you have to be stronger than everybody else. You're here to dominate the earth and just all of this stuff. And so he crashes on his version of the Kent's farm. The dad is like a raging alcoholic. The mother shoots drugs. He gets out of his little spacecraft. He's like, "You're going to be my parents now." Then he actually killed his adoptive parents in a fire. Like,
What? I didn't know about that
he
part.
was 7. When he was 7, he said, "I didn't have any use for them anymore. So I just burned them in the house. And then I burned the surrounding areas. And then I left." I was like, "Oh,
Not I burned the surrounding areas as well.
yes." And then I just left. And so, I'm not going to give away the entire story, but it was very, very interesting to me to just kind of read that history and how, his influences in his little space pod and growing up, and how basically that's how he was bred.
Hmm.
And that was, that's what he was sitting here to do. I did pick up the new X-Men and Infinity and stuff. I haven't got to read them yet. And of course, the latest of Superman and Wonder Woman, which I really like. The first, what is it? Superman Wonder Woman #1 sold like
Hmm.
100,000 copies. So for the people, there's been some naysayers talking about, oh, it's stupid and it's gonna suck. Well, 100,000 people said
Oh, so you're saying 100,000 people bought this issue?
bought #1.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah.
Because I remember it being cool. Like, we talked about this when we first started reading Infinity,
Uh-huh.
that it was the most, well, from Marvel, it was the most successful first issue, like in several years. I shouldn't say several years, but a couple years. So it went platinum, I guess you could say. It sold a
Oh,
million issues.
wow.
Whether digital or hard copy, it sold a million issues. The first issue did. I think that's really cool. I was gonna ask you about Forever Evil. Are they planning on doing like backstories for all of the
It would be nice if they did.
characters?
I don't know if they're gonna do it for everybody, because that one that I was reading is actually a Justice League #24.
Okay.
So, they're still doing their thing with the Justice League. That's not the Forever Evil separate miniseries. So,
Okay.
I don't know. I freaking love Forever Evil, and I'm just gonna keep buying it. And even if they turned it into like a real regular series, and I'd be like, add that to my pull list.
Well, I'm thinking because what I'm thinking is if DC doesn't have like a subscription thing, which I don't. I think $199. What I was talking about, the annual plus plan is $100 a year, $99 a year. I don't think I could support two of those, but
Right.
like I still have Comixology app, and I still have a membership to that as well. So I'm just gonna continue to get like all my DC comics from there, and I just have to go into each app depending on what I want to read. But I think from now on, even when I buy comics digitally, I'll just buy them through the Marvel Unlimited
Yeah.
app. And I've noticed that they honestly take seconds to download. I mean, maybe I downloaded all of the X-23 issues maybe in under 5 minutes.
Oh wow.
Not that it's a lot. I mean, it's like a few dozen.
Well, but still, I mean, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's like I'm one that I like covers, and I really like collecting the covers of a lot of them. Some of them I can do without. Some of them I just know that I want to just have. And And I've thought about going digital, and I've thought about, well, what if I just go digital and then go try to get, the editions that I really want,
Mm-hmm.
the ones that I really need to have, and doing like because I've even done mail order before.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can't argue with people that still want a paper copy. I still agree with that. And actually, what I was thinking about yesterday before I even hit the purchase, submit, whatever, to buy this plan, I thought, well, issues that come out where I want like that variant cover, I'm gonna still go get that variant cover
Right,
because
exactly.
I'm gonna still own. I still want to physically own that variant cover. But for me, it's like, let's say I want to talk about a certain. And I also thought about this too. Like if before we do the podcast, like if I want to talk about a specific issue or I want to play catch up really quick, I don't have to run to my comic book store.
Exactly.
And then the negative side of that is I'm not because comic book stores are slowly closing, like they're like the arcades of 2013, and
Yeah.
they're slowly closing, and the only way they stay open is if we support them. So I know that takes away from me going digital, does take away from local or supporting local or supporting comic shops. So I'm still trying to find a way to have a nice balance of giving back because I still have to make purchases of the
Right.
newer issues versus like the runaways and all that. I can go to the archive and just read them.
Yeah. See, and that's the thing. It's like I like going to my comic book store. I mean, it's funny. It's like a comic book store. It's like half the people go there to buy stuff, the other half just to go to just hang out. So even though it's crowded, it doesn't necessarily make who knows how much they're making. Like I know my comic book shop, they regularly have card tournaments and things like that. So there's like there's a lot of people in there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of people buying. I think they're doing. I mean, they're kind of like a staple of the Ventura County area, as far as being the one that. I mean, we have a few. We actually have about 3 or 4 comic book shops just in my county.
Okay.
Just within a 10-mile radius.
Okay.
So that's kind of like a pretty popular thing out here. But I don't know. It's like I wanna, and it's a pain. It's like it's not far from where I live, but just to drive there is like sometimes I don't feel like it.
Right.
But they when you have your pull list, they hold it for me. I inevitably find something else that I want. Everybody has been super nice, so you know,
It's
it's
a
like
toss up, and I think it's just a
it
personal. And it's
is,
your
it
personal preference
is.
too. But I still honestly feel that I will still support like my local, and as you will, like support my local comic book shop by just getting more current issues physically, variant covers, of course. Like of course, like for Infinity, I definitely got the variant cover for the all white issue 1 because it was just a gorgeous. Even though there's nothing on the cover, it was just a white cover. But I remember looking like the Infinity issue #1 was gorgeous because blue and black are my favorite colors. But to see that all white, I was just like mystery and the simplicity in the same cover. So and Infinity, it was perfect. But so I know we both saw a movie yesterday.
We saw the movie, and she
We
girl on fire, yeah.
there has to be singing for every issue. It wouldn't be the same for every issue. Where's be now? Why do I keep saying issue now? There has to be singing for every podcast.
Hmm.
But we saw the Hunger Games Catching Fire. I want to make sure I say it because some people are like, well, you are talking about Hunger Games 1 or Hunger Games 2.
If somebody asked, we were talking about Hunger Games 1, I just don't even say anything.
Just don't even talk to us anymore.
Just don't even just nothing.
Why are you even here? So, Lana, did you read the books?
Yes, I read the
Okay.
series. Hmm.
Okay, because I was talking to some friends and I was like, someone read the books that I know and I can't remember who it is. Okay, so for me, because I haven't read the books,
Hmm.
so for me, I enjoyed The Hunger Games 1. I know it's a little slow. Some people said it was a little slow, but I feel like the book was the same. And please interject and disagree because I know you did read the books. But like for me, I'm like, oh, I could see like you and I were talking about Harry Potter and how the movies fit the tone or the pace, and I feel like they kind of as they grew, they did, meaning the next series or the next book or whatever, movie adaptation. But this one, Lana, this movie, if I have to give it like a solid rating, I would say 8 out of 10.
And I can agree with that. Okay, so I did read the series. I'm gonna disagree on the first one. I hated the first movie because
Hmm.
I felt like the first half was so slow comparing it to the book. The book was excellent.
Really?
I love the first book, and I feel like there was a lot that was left out, and this Catching Fire was what, let's just say 2.5 hours. Okay,
Yeah.
let's just give it 2.5 hours. They could have done what they did with this movie in the first one. They could have gave the background. They could have made it more interesting. The first book was not slow like that movie was. And
Really?
so I was just kind of wondering, why have they decided to go this route? There's a way to give background stories. They had enough time to properly introduce the characters, give a little bit of background, show a little bit of life in District 12. It was just, oh my gosh, I didn't like it, and I actually wasn't excited to see Catching Fire because I hated the first movie so much. I had to make myself go see it. It was like, okay, you're gonna go see it, go see it, go see it, and I'm glad I did because the second book is actually my favorite one.
Hmm.
and and I was wondering, how are they gonna film this? How are they gonna do the clock?
Ah.
Like, how are they gonna show this? And I thought they really, really did a good job. I thought they finally did justice to the book, and I mean, you're never going to be able to put every single thing
Never.
in the movie, but they really, I know they got some new folks to do the second one, but I'm glad they did. I mean, I am. And
Let's be
because
real.
they really, really, really did justice to the book. I was so pleased. I was so happy. And I was just like, yes, thank you.
Well,
Thank
see,
you.
there's two things for me that stuck out.
Hmm.
One was I didn't know Aquaman was in this movie
Yeah, right.
because what's his name?
um,
Fish guy.
bitch, something.
Um, A- Amich? No, not Amich. No, it's not Amich.
That image.
Yeah.
We know who we're talking about.
Yeah. So anyway, he's like the main. He was on the front of Entertainment Weekly. Like they were. It was a really big deal when he was cast for this character. So as someone that is very ignorant towards the books, I didn't know what to, because I'm like, how is she getting put back in the Hunger Games, right?
Uh,
Because the first book or slash movie made it quite clear that once you're in the Hunger Games, as Amish has made clear, once you win, you just live a simple life.
mhm.
You have to be a mentor, but you never really get off this train, as he says in this book, in this Catching Fire.
Mhm.
But you really just live a simple life. So with this quarter Quell and how they did it, I was like, okay, so this makes sense. I like this. I like what y'all doing. Um, and then looking at the other districts and the other people that were voting, I thought it was really cool. Obviously, very sad. But I thought it was
Yeah,
really cool how it was done. I thought the layout of the games was
mhm.
great.
That was
Um,
awesome. Yeah.
that and when the clock scenario and then the tree, the lightning tree,
Mhm.
and then the end with Katniss, what she did. I don't want to spoil it for anyone that has not read the books or
Uh-huh.
seen the movies. What she did at the end was because the whole time. Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, is Peter gonna die?
Right, right.
Because I know she's not gonna die. So I'm like, how are they going to do this? Because that's how ignorant. I mean, I've never read the books. I don't know anything about the
Uh-huh.
story, so I didn't know how it was going to end. And
Hmm.
when it ended, and I knew, oh, what's his name? The games controller or whatever
I
his title
I
is.
forgot everybody's name. He's
Well,
a game
he's
master. He's a game
yeah,
master.
game master. When he first entered the movie, I knew something was different.
Hmm.
And I was like, something's not right. No, I shouldn't say something's not right. Well, yeah. I was like, something's not right. He just came off as very shady. Even
Yeah,
towards the president, he came off as very shady.
right.
And then when the ending happened, I was like, oh, I knew it. Now, Aquaman, I
Hmm.
didn't see that coming. And what my favorite character is of this one is I'm sorry, I can't remember anybody's names. The one she has like the axe.
Oh,
And she like
yeah.
took her clothes off in the elevator. That scene was everything. That was so funny.
That was hysterical. It
Jennifer
was
Lawrence can
so
act.
funny. Yeah, she can. And so I don't know if you remember some of the casting flack in the first one.
Hmm.
Some people were upset that Jennifer Lawrence was cast because, let's just keep it real, the descriptions of the people in the book were pretty different.
That's what I've been hearing. That's what I've been hearing.
They were pretty different. Like the protagonist, Katniss Everdeen, she was more. I'm gonna say she was more olive skin,
Mm-hmm.
kind of like tan, and she had the dark hair, and so there was like, why can't they, ever cast an actress that kind of matches? And then people were really, 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 really ugly about that an African American girl was cast as Rue. I mean, it was bad. Lot of racist comments, a lot of racist tweets, a
But
lot of
wait,
racist
we talked
backlash
about
towards
this.
girls.
I thought
Yeah,
so.
and so
Rue, tell me
now,
about that character. Tell me about Rue, like who she really is in the book.
so it's the book went more into detail about her and Katniss's relationship,
Mm-hmm.
but Katniss kind of took her under her wing, so to speak, as much as you can in a situation like that,
Right.
because she reminded her so much of her younger sister.
Mm-hmm.
And Rue was like the youngest one of the bunch. She was quiet, she was fast, she was kind of just hiding out and watching everything happen, but she was really a little girl. And in the book, and I was always wondering, I'm like, I always pictured her as black. I always knew she was black. And that's why I was just by her description in the book. Like I could that's why I was like, I mean, it made me sad for the reading comprehension level of, some of these people because I'm like, how did you not pick that up?
Yeah, it's like we can get back to we talked about this before, and there was a term
Yeah.
that we used, um, but like you can look at it like from the Last Airbender as
Yeah.
well. I mean, not trying to change the subject or anything like that, but I'm just saying that I don't understand
Race bending.
race bending. Thank you. Yes, airbending, race bending.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, with that, it's different because that was very deliberate. It was kind of a slap in the face to the culture of the show.
Oh yeah, it was.
Versus this was like you were not the only one online that expressed to me or expressed online that I read that this was a black character
Yeah.
and or a character of a darker descent.
Yeah, or
Um,
darker skin tone. She wasn't portrayed as somebody who was Caucasian, so that's why I was kind of curious as to why people or why some people were so angry that this girl got cast for the role.
Especially since her character is only one book.
Right.
And I do like the character, and I do love. Oh my god! Okay, I do love when they had the evaluation, the physical evaluation,
Hmm.
and he's like the games master was like, Katniss, show us you have 10 minutes to show us your ability, and she looks down and she sees Rue,
Hmm.
and she like just because I was like, what ability is she making? Like, what ability is she about to show? And then when she shows the character strung up, I was like, okay.
Yeah,
I was
and
like, all
that
right.
was, oh my gosh, I had to lock it up when I saw, yeah. So go see the movie.
Yeah, I
It's
could.
really, if you were hesitant about seeing it because maybe you didn't like the first one or you're not sure if it's going to be true to the book, as somebody who's read the book, I'm going to say I personally was pleased with it. I
Mhm.
mean, there's always going to be something lost in translation, but I thought they did a really, really, really good job bringing the elements of the book into this movie.
And honestly, the reason I gave it an 8 out of 10 was because there were a number of times in that movie where my heart was racing, and I don't necessarily remember that from Hunger Games or the first one. I do remember it from, or I don't remember it at all from the first one, and I just remember having these emotional roller coasters throughout this entire movie, like. Because, especially since I knew nothing. I didn't know if
Yeah.
Peter was gonna die. I didn't know if Aquaman was gonna die. I didn't know if my new favorite character with the battle axe was gonna die.
I know. I love how you
I
keep
didn't
going.
want her to die. I love the TikTok characters.
I
Um,
know. That was, I know.
I feel like I grew attached to a lot of those characters for in a very short
And that's
time.
why in the book you definitely grow attached to them in a deeper way because there's a little bit more detail. But for the time that they have to have this movie done in and stuff like that, yeah, it was. I'm pretty pleased with what was on the screen,
And
definitely.
I must say, I'm team catnip and Peter all day.
Oh, I know, and it's funny because the whole her relationship with Gail, I thought they fleshed that out pretty true to, what we see in the book.
Yeah.
And but yeah, and it's just the books do go a little bit more into depth about her thinking when it comes to Peta and stuff. But oh yeah, he's just pretty selfless when it comes to her.
Yeah, that's. I mean, just the things that he says, like
Oh, I know.
he is kind of a pushover. Now I will check this out. Okay, Lana and everyone else. Okay, so we've talked about the Onion before, which is
Mhm.
this fake news. Well, they have a movie critic, and
Uh-huh.
he's kind of like over the top. He talks about movies or whatever. He talks about you need to go. I'm gonna tweet it out. You need to go look up the Onion Hunger Games review,
Oh, I'm gonna
and
read
it's
it.
the only review you ever need to see. But basically, if you don't like Josh Hutcherson as an actor or aesthetically or as PETA, then this will be great for you. If you do like Josh Hutcherson as an actor slash PETA from Hunger Games, then you may be like a little like I was. You're like, really? It's just, he like digs at PETA's character,
Oh my
but it's
gosh.
kind of funny because it's true. I mean, because he does a lot of comparisons from PETA to Gail, and it's like that is true. Like in a real world, a woman would be with like each person for different reasons. Like,
Huh?
and these reasons are so apparent. Like they're so when he says them out loud, I'm like, dang, that is so true. Like PETA is a huge pushover. Like he is just like, and when he got electrocuted, I'm like, God. So like again, we gotta do this again.
I know. But go see it and just go see it. And we're gonna Matt, you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So we're gonna move
What?
we're, we're gonna move over right now. We're gonna go on. We're gonna save Scandal because we're about to go in when we talk about Scandal. We're gonna talk about Walking Dead right now.
Mm-hmm.
And because we haven't talked about that really at all this season.
Ever.
And yeah, well, I don't know. I want to say, I don't remember, honestly. We're on episode 25.
Okay.
Uh,
I don't think we have. I really don't think. But anyway,
so, the governor is back.
finally.
Finally caught up. The governor is back, and I finally caught up on the last episode. I thought it was interesting seeing kind of where he was, and it's a credit to the writers that I started to look at the governor kind of in a different light.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a zombie apocalypse, none of us knows how we would react or who we would turn into or what things would shape our actions. And when I saw him and, his distance from this new group of people that he linked up with and how he just tried to, keep himself away, but, thinking about his poor dead zombie daughter
Right.
and this new little girl, it's almost like he found some sense of purpose again and, you know, just wanted to really protect and, kind of look out for her. And it's watching her trust kind of grow on him, and then he had to go on and kill her granddad because he was about to eat her and
All that shady stuff.
all that shady stuff. So
Oh, so yeah, just say it. Say it how it is. Because I mean, it's the truth.
it is. It's the truth. And then watching her kind of be like, I'm super scared of you because you're so brutal, but there's a pack of zombies coming, so I'm gonna come jump onto you,
I'm
and
going to hang out with you.
I'm gonna hang out. So I just, I think it's interesting. It's like, I'm interested to see today when it comes on later if how much he's gonna change when he links back up with his old group,
Mm-hmm.
or how is that going to affect this new dynamic that he has.
I, for one, really was surprised and really enjoyed this past episode of being just the governor. Because it gave, like you said, I'm just gonna kind of repeat. I may repeat some things you said, but just it gave further insight to obviously who he was. It didn't make me feel bad for him. I still don't, as a character, I still hate his character. Um, I still want him dead, but it's just it just gives a
Hey, Chris, he
new
can't be allowed to live.
right. He can't, and it's like it does give more perspective because honestly, when I did watch this episode, I thought about Rick a lot. And
Mm-hmm.
it does. There are like I feel like Rick and Governor are the same person, they have the same foundation. They just happen to have like different like core values, or they just choose to channel them differently.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
Right.
And it's like I think, and looking at the picture that he had with his family and everything, I think it's quite possible that he was a good person, and he had a wife and he had a daughter who he obviously loved. And there's no he had a picture of his wife. There's no indication that, he didn't love his wife and his family, but it changes a person when that type of, catastrophic incident happens. I think it does change somebody, and it, you know, especially in a brutal way like zombies.
Yeah, I mean, because the governor lived through that experience, like that transition of being humans one day and zombies the next,
Right.
versus Rick woke up into it.
Yeah, he woke up into it, so he wasn't there. But you know what? Little side note, I did hear something about a Walking Dead prequel
I would like that because I was just
series,
about to say what
and
happens.
I would be all over that. I would love a prequel to The Walking Dead so we can kind of see events that led up to it. I would love that.
I
That
think
would
it'll
be
be great because I want to see how people. It's like the movie, like what 28 Days Later. You know how people like the transition, Dawn of the Dead. Like you see 1 minute everyone is in a normal society, you see one person cough, and then all of a sudden there's
right.
this huge outbreak of zombies. I mean, because then it really shows you. Because it's for Walking Dead perspective, you can't really see it in Rick. Because like I said, Rick was one day everyone was human, the next day everyone was zombies.
Yeah.
But people like the governor, Michonne, Tyrese, I mean, all these different characters. I want to see what they were like before and what
Hmm.
made them who they are today. Because some of them are cold, and I'm thinking, I'm sure you weren't cold before.
Yeah.
Um, but like Michonne, for instance, she was a lawyer,
Right.
and she had a daughter. I'm assuming because the way she's
Yeah.
treating that baby.
Yeah. That was wow.
Right.
She was so she could have had a family. She could have had a husband. All that stuff. So I don't read the graphic novels, so I don't know. Like people who read them probably, I'm sure have more information about the backstory and of these different people and kind of what they've been through and stuff. But just looking at it from somebody who only watches the show, I would love to even have like since their seasons are so short, I would love to even have a mini series, just kind of delving into their lives before the zombie apocalypse happened.
Well, what is that? Have you been seeing about that online that mini show online? Or
I did. I want to say I read something a couple of weeks ago. Not too much detail about it, but you know how they just drop little. Oh, they're talking about a prequel type thing.
yeah.
No, real detail though on that.
Yeah, I saw. I'm gonna look into it and I'll tweet it out and definitely too, Lana. But I remember reading about some webisodes, but I don't
Oh,
know if
the
they're.
episodes. I haven't watched them, but I want to go on AMC Walking Dead, and they're on there, and I haven't watched them, but I want to say I just started seeing commercials for the webisodes, so maybe I'll check that out sometime today and just look at them, see if I like them.
Yeah, because I don't know if they're prequels. I think they're this. I think they're in the same timeline, but just a different area, like different location.
That could be
Um,
that could be okay.
which would be cool too, because then you can get different personalities, you get different perspectives, you get different atmosphere.
Yeah.
So okay. So anyway, definitely check that out. And then we have a new episode coming on tonight. Well, for us, it'll be on tonight. So when you guys hear
Yeah.
this podcast, we'll be an episode behind. We're talking about
Yeah.
an episode two. We're talking about the governor's episode.
Yeah, last week. And we also, what we don't know, we know that Carol is gone, but what we don't know is Daryl's reaction, and we don't know the reaction of anybody else when they find out that Carol is gone. So I'm very, very interested
Mm,
to see that. Do you think Rick made the right decision?
no, because I feel like Rick saw a piece of himself inside of Carol and got scared.
Really?
And I'm so glad you brought that up because I really did think about that, and I'm glad you brought that up because um, I feel like he saw a piece of him inside of her, just like he sees a piece of him inside of his son. And what did he do when he saw a piece of when he saw a little bit of himself inside of his child? He took his gun away, basically put him on punishment.
Mm-hmm.
He can't exile him, but he wants to kind of lock him down. And with Carol doing I honestly, I know we're not in this particular reality, but I feel like I would have not been upset with her, especially if I wasn't emotionally tied to those people. So I think
Mm,
the thing is when it comes to the zombie apocalypse, rule number one is you can't get emotionally invested in people that are not your husband, your wives, your sisters, or someone that you knew before this. If these are people that you just met on a road and y'all end up getting a camp together
yeah.
and y'all may have a nice romantic night together, does not mean that
Right. Right.
the world is right. So I feel like like Tyrese, like that whole Tyrese and Rick fight, it was just completely to me unnecessary. Kind of made my stomach hurt.
I was ready for Tyrese to go jump off the top of a building somewhere.
I was because the way he was burying that body and that face, whew, whoever did the makeup,
But it's like that was not your boo for that long. Let's just get it under control.
that's what.
I
There's some
was so I was so done. I was like, dude, really, really?
there's some stuff I can say, but I'm gonna keep it PG-13.
Oh
But
God.
I just we
I,
all know. And I just feel like that was just a little over the top. Yeah, Carol, yeah, she did do it outside of the council as they have it. But to exile her, she's not going anywhere. One, she's not gonna die.
well, no, that's why they sent her away in a cart because they're not going to kill her because that would mean that she's gone, and I don't think they're ready to do that.
And I think Daryl's not ready for her to go.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm wondering. I can see where Rick is com. I can see where Rick is coming from, just because when a member of their group takes it upon themselves to just execute people, that's dangerous. And if people have agreed that, okay, there's a council that makes decisions, and you just start acting outside of the council,
You're right.
I think, that's when it could become dangerous. We can split off into factions. People just start doing whatever they want. With a group of people that large, there has to be some type of order. There has to be something.
Right.
It has to be a group of people with people, a group that people trust. Now with Carol, she's taking care of the kids,
Mm-hmm.
and I think she was fine, as far as, showing them how to use knives and stuff like that. But I think because remember, Carl was pretty disappointed when he went over there and he was like, I'm too old for that. Then he's like, well, it almost seemed like he wanted a little bit of normalcy. And
Mm-hmm.
then when he sees that, oh, it's more violence, it's more of what we're living every day, I think he was kind of disappointed by that. And so he left. And I don't know. It's like I think with the kids there needs to be a balance. There's nothing wrong with having half story time, half knife fight. It's
Right. Exactly.
like
And then that's something I can't be mad at Carol. Like especially like if you just look at like that one situation,
yeah.
I'm not. I'm really not. I really agree with her. Be-
Mm.
because they're old enough, meaning they're 12,
Yeah, they
13.
I think she wasn't wrong in that. I think that there needs to be a balance, but she definitely wasn't wrong. And these kids, it's sad, but they're gonna have to know how to kill a zombie. They're gonna have to know how to grow up. Um, I don't know. I think now if Rick was mad that Carol acted on her own, I think what would have needed to happen is that, she needed to be able to come back and they needed to decide as a group what needed to happen with her.
That that
That
will happen. That's going because Daryl is going to go find her.
he's gonna go find her, and I'm really very interested to see how that's gonna play out.
But I feel like she's going to come back into play with something that has to do with the governor.
Yeah, I could totally see
Because
that.
in the graphic novels, she's dead. She's been dead since the beginning.
Oh really?
Yeah, she
Oh, well, she's around much longer in the series than she
oh
is.
yeah, she should have died in season 1. Like when her daughter died, Sophia.
Uh-huh.
Sophia in the book, in the graphic novels, Sophia is still alive, and it's Maggie and what's his name? I can't remember his name. They kind of take yeah, Glenn. They kind of take her under their wing, and they become like her parents.
Oh
And
wow. Okay.
Carol dies. Versus the show is the complete opposite, and I feel like
Oh,
she's grown to be a big favorite because she
okay.
remember she was very weak and timid in the beginning, and she had a very abusive husband, and
Yep.
I feel
Yep.
like having that having him killed or disappear or whatever has been very liberating for her, and then also having someone who she has this intimate connection with that it goes beyond the physical. When I'm talking about Daryl,
Right. Right.
has really empowered her as well too to become more of a powerful, independent woman.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like she's become a fan favorite. I truly
Yeah.
think if you did a poll, she would be in the top three, like if not top two favorite characters.
Like I like Carol. Um, I was interesting to me to watch her personality change, and it was done so subtly. Like
It was so smooth.
it was just, little. It was so slow
Hmm.
that you could almost miss it if you weren't looking for it. So, and then what's fascinating to me is the crossover of Scandal and The Walking Dead,
Yeah.
and
Yes. Let's talk about that.
when Shonda Rhimes and Robert Kirkman sat down, for dinner, and she was like, "What do I do with the show?" And he said, "Well, you could zombify it." She was like, "How?" And then when he gave her this idea to have Mama Pope start to eat her own wrists,
Woo!
Shonda, kudos to you for the Walking Dead influence.
And
Kudos to you.
the reason we know this is because Lana and I were having dinner, and
Yes.
across the way was Shonda and Robert.
And they were there and they were like, it was like they had been friends for years.
Yeah, and we could hear them. They were talking really loud, kind of bougie, under the influence, giving spoilers. We tuned out the
So
spoilers.
we turned it out because we didn't want to hear. So we could have heard how this season of Walking Dead ends. We could have heard about the last episode of Scandal. They're telling each other stuff. They trust each other, I guess. But he gave her that idea and she ran with it, and we got to see a little bit of Walking Dead mixed in with Scandal.
So let me ask you this: what do you think about Mama Pope? Do you think? I mean, do you think she's a CIA agent or like,
Okay.
or I shouldn't say CIA agent, but some type of what is
There's
what?
some.
Yeah, there's
So
something that's against America inside of her.
between my mom and my roommate, like we have discussed this
Hmm.
and all the different conspiracy theories, and it's basically agreed that we think that she had something to do with the bomb that was on that flight, and we think that possibly there was some type of switch, and the guy who was supposed to be alive, I don't know, but there's some type of switch, and to get her off that plane, she did something.
Right.
She did something with the bomb in the plane. We don't know why she did it, but there was something that she did that caused her to be not just in the jail, prison,
Under the jail.
penitentiary, under, under, okay? And I don't know. When she took that syringe and stabbed that doctor in the neck.
In the neck, and then Olivia's walking to her condo talking about, I just had a good day. I was in Vermont. That's where the lovers
Right.
are too. And walking back to my crib, and all of a sudden you hear Livy, and she didn't
Right. And
even look. She hasn't heard her
right.
mother's voice in 25 years.
Right.
Heard Libby and stopped. Didn't even turn around and was like, "That's my mother."
Right. And just look. And okay. And I'm just gonna go. We'll break it up, person by person, because just about almost everybody has something crazy going on right
Oh
now.
yes.
So I'm gonna save Huck because that was the last scene.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about Mr. Bean and James.
That couldn't have been better scripted.
This okay. So we all know how manipulative Cyrus has been with James. And we kind of sat back, I think, and shook our heads like, poor James, all he wants is a family and a job. That's all
Mm-hmm.
he wants. And to just watch Cyrus kind of use him, Cyrus almost had him killed.
Just
Okay.
because.
Like, because, he's going to go in and say, well, he's going to testify, and he was like, do I pull the trigger? He decided at the last minute to let him live. I'm like, my goodness, Cyrus has done a lot with this dude. He has ripped him to shreds personally, professionally, everything. The dude always comes back. But I think, with, I think her name's Sally Pressman,
Yeah.
with the vice president, with her husband, and them kind of discovering that he's attracted to men, and then for Cyrus to kind of plant James to get this dude and to catch him. I mean, that is his husband. And he's just gonna be like, oh, go. And when James is sitting in the chair and he's recalling all of the things that Cyrus has told him,
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I got you this job. Oh, here's how you get him to loosen up. Oh, wear this. Oh, do that. I was just, I mean, just almost the look that came over his face, that kind of devastated, it was like a look of devastation and then a look of payback.
Right.
And it's like, okay.
I I knew the moment he told Melly that my
Uh-huh.
husband is not like your husband. That
Yes.
was just forced. I mean, that was like it wasn't. It was like three steps under forced. It was
Yes.
like perfect. It was like the perfect statement. It was the perfect response. And as soon as he said it, I was like, something's gonna happen.
Yeah. And that she looked like she got slapped in the face when he said that. Kind of like, I just threw everything you're dealing with back in your face.
Right. And I mean, when Melly hears that, but then I guess the question remains: is what are they gonna do with it?
Well, Cyrus has the pictures now, and the look on Cyrus's face, it's almost like that hurts. So because Cyrus has caused a lot of mess,
Mm-hmm.
so it's almost like you're feeling a little bit of what you've caused other people and the hurt that you've caused James. And when he sees, I don't know, I have no idea what is he going to do with those pictures. And also, can we just talk about Fitz and Olivia for a minute?
Vermont.
Vermont. And can we talk about how she went from I hate you, I'm not going to talk to you, I'm smashing the phone because you killed my mom, to I'm dropping my drawers because you bought me a house. I mean, that switch happened so fast, I almost got whiplash.
But can I tell you that I don't care what I told you just yesterday, Lana. That house is gorgeous, and
What
plenty
it
of
was
folk would have
busted.
dropped them panties.
But not if she thought that he killed her
And but
mom.
see, but here's the thing though. Here's where the you didn't finish the whiplash effect because she did. I hate you. You killed my mother. To this house is gorgeous. Let's make love on the floor. To I still hate you. To oh my mom is alive.
Right, right. Well, wait. Right before mom is live to don't sell the house yet. To then my mom is
See,
alive.
see,
That was just, I was like, oh my gosh, the emotional manipulation, I love it. It's too much.
it's that show is
And then she walks in and Jake, because I'm Team Jake. I want her with Jake. And, she kind of walks in and he's like, and he knew. I'm pretty sure that he knew.
mm-hmm.
He just looked at her like, I know that look. So, I don't know. Oh, and then Huck.
Uh, so what's her name? Baby
Quinn.
Huck. Whatever.
Right.
You know I can't stand this character. You know I loathe this character. Um, I am actually happy that B16 has recruited her forcefully because it gives her story some. I thought about this after our conversation yesterday. It gives her story some purpose and some hope because she was introduced as a helpless, ignorant girl in the beginning, and then she didn't have a place for the past two seasons or season and a half, and all of a sudden she's back to square one, being the hopeless little girl she was from the beginning. So she's just coming back full circle. So although I still cannot stand her character, and I really hope she dies off or leaves the show, I'm glad that she has some type of purpose.
Hmm.
But at the end, when she walked in, she wanted to be caught, Lana.
I think so too. I think it's a relief to her, but dude is supposed to kill her
Mm-hmm.
if she does get caught. So I don't know, but when she walks in and Huck is sitting, because she already knew. So when she walks in and Huck is just sitting in the chair, and he's like, now we need to find out who you work for. And he just has all of his tools
He's ready.
just spread out ever so gently on the ground, and just everything. It's shiny. It's clean. It's, he's ready to go. It's sanitized because we don't want to cause an infection.
Right.
And he's very calm because number one, he's about to get a sip of that alcohol. And
Stop. Oh, I see
I
what you
don't
did
know.
there. I see what you did
Thank
there.
you, thank you. And he's just ready. It's like a fine wine.
It is. That you just
A
kind of that you
genuine.
slowly,
Yeah.
breathe in.
Right, right.
I am not upset about that statement, and I'm really I see. I don't see the previews because usually I wait till the next day and watch it on Hulu Plus,
Uh-huh.
and they don't have the previews. So when you told me about the previews about her being duct taped, I was like, yeah, this is getting serious.
Duct tape, tape over the mouth. He's licking the side of her face. I'm like,
The licking the side of
what?
her face part, I can't.
I don't even understand how that comes into play or what happens. What is the lead up to that scene? And so in 2 weeks, after Thanksgiving, we're gonna have the winter finale. All I can do is ask the powers that be to please not make us wait between 4 and 6 weeks, whatever ridiculous amount of time we had to wait last year.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it was like February. It wasn't February because I don't think we skipped. It was just an obscenely long time
It was. I know
that we
that
had to wait.
this year they got the official go ahead to do a full season without all these breaks. That's what Shonda had tweeted about a while ago,
Okay,
and it was a really big deal because they really did treat Scandal like crap last year. Just
it
all these
is.
3 weeks off, 4 weeks off for no reason, while other shows were still having new episodes from every week. So I'm really excited that Scandal is getting the recognition that it deserves. And Shonda Rhimes, even though I really don't care for her, is getting her recognition too because she's worked so hard, and I feel like this is a show that's been a dream of hers since the beginning.
Uh huh.
And even though Grey's Anatomy is still a really good show, at least viewer wise and ratings wise, she had to work really hard for a non-black show to get the show that she always wanted.
Yeah, exactly. And so I enjoy. I have to say, I enjoyed seeing Lisa Kudrow come in, and it was nice to see her because I did watch Friends back in the day, and it was nice to see her in a role that was completely different. But yeah, I want more guest stars. I'm like, who's gonna come on next?
I like Lisa Kudrow. I don't know. I haven't heard anything else about any other character, but I really do like Lisa Kudrow. I loved her since Friends. I loved her on the comeback. I can't remember. Um, but I'm sad to see her go so soon. It seems like this is it, right? I mean,
Yeah, I think this is pretty much it. It's time.
yeah,
Her and her sister need to go.
yeah, that's true. I just want more. Like, I want more from her. Like, I just like her. I like her as an actress. She's such a cool
Yeah,
actress. So
yeah.
it means the world to me. Um, but let's see what else we got.
Blast from the past. No, we did Blast from the past. Let's do our blurred of the week.
Well, I will let you go because I honestly, and I apologize ahead of time. I had my blur of a week yesterday, and I totally forgot about it.
Yes,
I
okay.
really can't remember, and I've been trying my hardest to remember this entire episode. So,
Okay.
Lana, will you lead us in the charge for blur of the week?
Yes. So my blurred of the week for this week is Melissa Harris Perry.
Oh,
Yeah. So the reason that I chose her was because of a story, and I'm not sure how old the story is, but it doesn't matter.
mm,
So it was a story. Deborah Brown Community School in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I guess they sent a letter home to this young African American girl and told her that her hair was unacceptable. And the girl had short dreadlocks, and
mm-hmm.
I have locks, so I especially took exception to this. But and it was tied up, in a bow. It was cute, it was neat. And the girl is 7, and they sent her a letter home, and basically in their rules they said faddish hairstyles,
Wow,
faddish
faddish.
hairstyles.
Now, can you explain to us what faddish means?
Because in my mind, faddish is something that comes and goes. It's something like,
Yeah,
I don't know,
what goes with the times?
jelly shoes
Yeah.
or friendship bracelets or something like that. But they're using it. they're using it for hair. So dreadlocks are, or locks, or people have Nubian locks, depending on what you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those are against school policy. Afros are against school policy. Do you see the pattern here?
Yeah, I do.
Basically, if you're black and you're wearing your hair natural, that's against school policy.
That just makes no sense to me.
So, the girl got a letter, and from the school, and I guess the girl's parents, they kind of made it known they were very displeased, and they pulled her out, which kudos to them for doing that. But Melissa Harris Perry kind of got a hold of the story, and she's my blurred of the week because of her reaction to the story.
And
So
shining light on this because one, thank you because I love that you tied this was seamlessly tied to your blast in the past, but it was great because again, it's about awareness, right? It all goes back to awareness.
it
If
almost
no one says anything or
it
stands up, nothing will happen.
yeah, it's going to be swept under the rug. And so there's a little video, and I'll post this on the Facebook page. But there's a video of her response on her show, Melissa Harris Perry Show, and her response to this, and her message to this little 7-year-old girl
Mm-hmm.
about her hair, about how beautiful she is, about how nobody can tell her, how to wear her hair, and there's nothing wrong with her. And it was just such a positive message of affirmation for her. And I really appreciated that, because these are some of the things that sometimes go on in the black community. Like, a lot of black kids have been made of by other black kids and by non-black children about our hair texture. Our hair texture, we have a lot of different textures. Sometimes our hair is straight,
Mm-hmm.
naturally, believe it or not. Yes, it is. Sometimes it's kinky. I don't like the term
Nappy.
nappy.
Don't see.
Some,
Oh
some
God.
people, now, some people have taken it and said, you know what, I'm going to take it, and it generally has had a negative connotation, but some people have taken that and made something positive out of it. Like, I was never ashamed of my hair.
Right.
That's just, but a lot of that comes from parenting. And a lot of that is if you had parents that affirmed you and affirmed your culture and affirmed who you are, or you were able to come out of that and just realize that, there's nothing wrong with you,
Mm-hmm.
and there's nothing wrong with your skin color, and there's nothing wrong with your hair texture, and it's beautiful. You can come out of that. But there's a lot of us in our community who simply don't have that.
Right. You're absolutely right. But like I said, it's all about just building confidence, especially when you have kids, and especially in the black community, building confidence that knowing that you're unique
Yeah.
and just being and making things aware, especially as you get older. When you're a child, you don't have that ability confidently. But when you get older, there's nothing wrong with saying like, "Hey, that's ignorant." Like, I mean, I've had coworkers say things like, "Oh, when I've grown my hair out, not extremely long, but I usually cut my hair every 2 weeks, and it may be like an extra week." And one of my coworkers was like, "Oh, your hair's kind of nappy," and I was like,
Oh my gosh.
"Okay, thanks," and I left it at that. I was like, "Okay, you serious?" Um, So yeah, it's just about being. But I definitely let her know like that just wasn't an appropriate thing to say.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Like it just, I
So,
mean, and I didn't. I wasn't mean about it. I was very professional, and we're actually really cool, and like had that midway point between coworkers and friends. But
right.
it's like you just have to let people know because if they don't know, you can't be mad at them
Right.
for continuing that behavior because 9 out of 10 times when you tell that person, they'll probably apologize and they'll never say it again.
Right. But if you don't tell them, then they're never going to know.
You
So
can't
you
you
have
can't
to
be
tell them.
mad.
And the thing is, it's like, it's not, a lot of people, and oh gosh, a lot of people like to throw the term race card around. And I hate that term because there's no such thing.
It's stupid. It's
Is
really
there,
dumb.
there's like no such thing as that. Um, as long as racism is this, there's no such thing as a race card.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. But Melissa Harris Perry,
Mm.
she has her show. Her show comes on, and it's really, really good. She has some very good guests on there. It's on MSNBC. It comes on 10 a.m. Eastern. I want to say, I know for sure it comes on Sundays. I don't know if it
Yeah.
comes on Saturdays because we're recording. But
Right. Oh yeah, that is around the same time. It is.
yeah. So 7 a.m. Pacific. And her hashtag is Nerdland.
Do we follow her?
I think I follow her on my personal account, but we're gonna follow her on our
Yeah, we
Blerds
are.
account. Yeah. So her hashtag is Nerdland, and so you can tweet and stuff during the show. She has her personal Twitter account, and then for her show. But so I have to give her kudos for that. And I love that she braids her hair and she wears braids and twists and everything on the show because we just have so few. And
Yeah,
it's
you're
just
right.
nice. It's just nice,
To be represented.
And she has a wide variety of guests on from the arts, politicians, every culture, everything on there. So check her show out if you haven't done that
I
already.
will.
But like I said, we'll link her video response, to what this young girl had to go through. And I'm not going to repeat everything she said because it was like 5 minutes, but it's definitely worth a
Oh
watch.
yeah. We'll definitely be on that ASAP. Okay. Well, shout out to her for being our Blurred of the Week. I apologize I did not have one. I promise I will remember who it is because I swear to you I had it Friday and Saturday morning. And I just can't. And I've been like on my new iPad, like figuring out like who was it, like why did I pick that person, and I can't remember. Um, so I will come back next week with a legit Blurred of the Week. But thanks a lot for listening, guys. How do you feel, Lana? You feel satisfied?
I feel satisfied. I felt like everything's off my
I
chest.
don't know. I feel like that too. I feel like we had so much to talk about, and we did very well to explain it to everyone and nerd out with everyone. So again, guys, if you like what you hear, please like us on Facebook, like us, follow us on Twitter. Please subscribe. Click that subscribe button on YouTube and iTunes.
Oh,
Um,
and have a happy Thanksgiving. We are taking next week
yes,
off
yes.
because I won't be in town. I'll be with the fam bam. So if you're traveling, travel safely, drive carefully. Well, you're not going to fly the plane, I don't think so. Get a good seat. And
You're right. You're right.
stay safe.
Right. So stay safe wherever you go. Get fat because that's what we'll be doing.
Right.
And spread the nerd. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks. All right. Bye, guys.